Hi, this is Molly and welcome to the video on the Pisces New Moon, which is happening on February 23rd, 2020 at 10:31 a.m. That is Eastern Standard Time, so of course adjust accordingly for your place on the planet. So as we see here, first of all, with the Pisces New Moon, is that all the planets are essentially gathered together on one side of the zodiac. So we have the sun and the moon at 4 degrees of Pisces, 28 minutes, conjunct. They are the feminine and the masculine together, meeting up, deciding what they're going to create going forward. Now we also have this Mercury at 9 degrees of Pisces retrograde, conjunct the sun and the moon, and because Mercury's retrograde and moving backwards, Mercury is going to be in conversation with the sun for a few days here. So we have a very thinking new moon because of this Mercury. It activates more of what's going on in our minds, what's going on in our heads, and what we are communicating to ourselves. And in Pisces, the information comes through more intuitively. It's from the emotional body, it's from our feelings. We could have a new awareness about something that's been stuck in our minds. We could have a new understanding of a story, a new understanding of information or what's been unfolding. And I found a very interesting correlation here around what this newness could be related to. So the sun and the moon at 4 degrees of Pisces are receiving a supportive sextile here from Mars at 4 degrees of Capricorn. And so that Mars brings in stability, action, certainty, where to go, what to commit to, and what's necessary. So just, you can see how, okay, we have 4 planets here in Capricorn, and we have 4 planets in Pisces. And these energies work together to bring about a dream, to make something real, to trust what we feel and how it's showing up in the world. There's an element here of a dream builder, of things connecting and coming together, working hard for something, but then giving yourself a break in Pisces, okay? So we have some nice synergy going on with the Capricorn and the Pisces energies. But this Mars not only is sextiling the sun and the moon, this Mars is conjunct the December 26th solar eclipse that happened at 4 degrees of Capricorn. So this Mars is now activating that eclipse energy and probably showing you what you've been thinking about since late December, January. And there's something new coming into our awareness around how we have approached certain parts of our life and what we need to let go of. And that letting go is because of the Pisces. The letting go is the completion energy, the releasing. Pisces is where we need to surrender our ego, surrender what we thought was for certain, surrender the part of ourselves that had it all figured out, and essentially open up to more. And with this Mercury retrograde, I feel like there's this energy of a deeper contemplation around that Capricorn solar eclipse and what you've learned, what you've come to understand around where you're meant to go next. But this is a releasing and completing new moon. So there's new awareness. That's the new moon energy. There's new awareness around what you need to let go of. And every Pisces new moon has this interesting dichotomy of energy because it is a new moon, which is a beginning, initiating, starting energy. But in Pisces, it's completing and unraveling and surrender. So this is showing you something that relates to that Capricorn new moon solar eclipse that happened December 25th, 26th. The trigger of Mars brings in the action, can bring in the reaction or the anger, can bring in something moving forward. And I feel like there's some kind of understanding around what you cannot go back to. and what you don't want to go back to, and can you let that go? And can you find peace with it mentally? Even if expectations were not met or something feels unfinished, can you be in a place of acceptance? And that's one of the higher gifts of Pisces, is that energy of acceptance. Now, another strong energy here, we have a few more to look at, is how the sun and the moon are also sextiling Mercury at 3 degrees of Taurus, another earth sign. And this brings in the unexpected, as Uranus does, but it can be something that you're ready for, that helps you move through the changes. It's actually nice how also Mars and Uranus are connecting nicely through a trine that will have been in effect a few days before this new moon. And there's energy to move forward. Uranus wants you to move forward. Now keep in mind, Uranus at 3 degrees has gone back and forth in this part of your chart for about 1.5 years or so. And now you could see what changes have unfolded and how to approach it in a new way. Like there's a sense of, I'm okay with floating, I'm okay with the peace, and I trust what's right for me now in a whole new way. So there's shifts in our physical world, which is always the energy of the earth signs. There's shifts in our physical world that are being activated throughout February. And with Mercury retrograde until March 10th, there's of course things that are coming together even as we move forward. I feel like it's get your mind out of it. Look at where you're overthinking it or fixated on something, and instead just keep the trusting and keep the flow and be open to the completions, because everything else is really moving ahead pretty well. And you know how our minds can get in the way and shut something down or operate out of fear or out of a lower consciousness? I feel like this is bigger picture of, trust the universe, trust what's moving forward now on the bigger scale, on the grand timing of it. A few other energies here is how this Mars just had a recent square to Chiron at 3 degrees of Aries, and that could have been a boo-boo, an ego boo-boo because of how the Chiron in Aries is ruled by Mars. So whatever Mars is doing affects this Chiron. So this could be something that's been challenging with Mars squaring that Chiron, basically triggering a wound, triggering something in yourself that required you to slow down. But as the Mars moves away, that should alleviate it a bit. We also have this Jupiter at 18 degrees of Capricorn in a sextile to Neptune at 17 degrees of Pisces. I talked about this in the Leo full moon video too. And this is a sense of divine timing, building and taking action on what you're ready to commit to. And this is an energy that happens throughout 2020. Begins in February, unfolds throughout 2020, and is showing you what you're really wanting and what you're really ready to say yes to for the long term. So this Jupiter in Capricorn shows you what you've earned, what you've mastered, what you've put time into, and then this Neptune comes through to bring in the other elements that you couldn't see, the other parts of it that you perhaps energetically sensed, and now it's coming through. At the same time, this Jupiter is squaring Venus at 18 degrees of Aries. Both Aries and Capricorn are cardinal signs. They are leadership signs. They want to be the ones running the show. They have very different approaches. But the square between Jupiter and Venus is known as more of a soft square of desire. A desire of what you want, what you really want. This is the Aries subjective, personal sense of self, of this is who I am and I want this. And so this Venus, she could be basically admiring something that the Jupiter in Capricorn has earned or mastered or experienced. This could be the energy too of understanding what you want next, and if you have the determination to go for it. So I feel like there's a lot of contemplation with this Pisces new moon around what you're committing to in 2020, what you're heading towards, what you want, how you're taking action on it as things are being revealed around what's over, the chapter you've left behind. And the new moon is always about, but your power is here. Your power is right now. So what do you trust? And I feel like you could be calling in more of your spiritual energy, your higher self, your soul's energy to support you going forward and to support you with next steps. So that is also one of the higher expressions of Pisces, is how we are partnering with energies and how we're rising above the human experience and connecting with the higher self and the soul's wisdom as we journey through this wild roller coaster adventure. You can see here that Pluto and Saturn are still only 3 degrees apart. So throughout February, they've still been in their communications. Saturn is moving on, and Saturn enters Aquarius in March. And then also in March, Pluto gets a visit from Jupiter. And I talk about this in the March monthly astrology webinar, where I talk about all the astrology of March, all the transits, all the aspects, everything that's going on, and then help you apply it to your own chart. Because when you understand the astrology in your own chart, then these things really connect and really are more personal to you. So more to come in March, but this Pisces new moon is asking you to look at your partnership with spirituality, your ability to surrender, to let go of your mind, to allow transitions to occur, to understand how everything is temporary, to be in the flow of the cosmic energies. And at the same time, the Capricorn energies here are still strong and giving us strength for the long term. So I hope this has given you some good insights into this Pisces new moon on February 23rd. You can check out more about what's happening in your chart through my astrology classes below this video. And I hope you'll join me for my weekly podcast every Monday and Wednesday. I do upload them here to YouTube, and you can also find the podcast wherever podcasts are distributed. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here really soon.